I have a question for Saquon Barkley and Saquon Twitter. Aaron says this. Aaron Wilson, KPRC2, says the headliner of the running back free agent class is New York Giants star Saquon Barkley, who has targeted the Texans as his top possible destination or top potential destination and has been communicating with C.J. Stroud per league sources. Barkley could, of course, remain with the Giants there as GM Joe Schoen is holding talks with Barkley and with Barkley's agent. So on that Texans part of that, and again, we're in the smoke season here right now. So I'm going to take this for purposes of the question I'm about to ask. I'm going to take this at face value. That Saquon Barkley has targeted the Texans as his top possible destination and is communicating with C.J. Stroud. That he wants to come here more than anywhere else. Yeah. My question to Saquon and those who back Saquon, and by the way, let me preface, I'm fine with Saquon Barkley being a Texan. I'm not fine with paying him $13 million a year over multiple years to be a Texan. I think there's other solutions out there at the running back position that make more sense for the Texans at that price. My question would be, if he wants to be here so damn bad, if he's communicating with C.J. Stroud, why do the Texans have to pay him $13 million a year? Why wouldn't Saquon Barkley, if he wants to be here so freaking bad, take a discount to be here and play here?
Mecole Hardman or Kadarius Toney? Like, it's just like, this is the only place that'll have him? Like, yeah, fine. Well, we'll let you come play for us, Saquon. Yeah.
Am I off base? Am I off base saying, if Saquon wants to come here that bad, that the Texans be like, okay, cool, here's your offer, $9 million a year?
Well, yeah, I don't think you're off base. I mean, this is ultimately, you're not off base. There's a reason there's free agency. There's multiple people that are in on it. That's why I think a lot of this talk of posturing and all this, or Saquon, honestly, okay, Saquon's targeted the Texans as the prime place he wants to be. Why? Where? What? How? How? What the hell does that mean? So yeah, if you're the Texans, I don't think it should affect you one way or the other about how much you want to pay him. It should be whatever you think that he's worth as a player, and there's an envelope there. Yeah. But you don't have to play hardball with him or act there's no way in hell I think they're going to say, oh, well, you want to be here based on this Aaron Wilson report. Is that right? Well, then here, $6 million a year.
Well,
you think Nick's going to be like, oh, Aaron Wilson says?
No. But if it's true, then they're going to know he wants to be here. You know what I mean? He will have communicated with CJ and have expressed something to the Texans to that effect. They'll have had conversations where he'll have backed up what Aaron's reporting at that point.
Is there any chance? Okay. If Saquon genuinely wanted to be here, this is where I think it's just so hard when you start talking about actual dollar amounts and everything because you don't know what anybody's expectations are. So I don't think that he should have to take a discount or what have you. More likely scenario might be that maybe Nick and D'Amico might be a little bit skeptical of paying any running back in free agency respectable money.
That's true.
Because it's such a bad risk.
Yeah.
It's such a bad risk for no matter who it is, that they maybe think okay, well, if he really wants to be here and this is a little bit different, he's committed because he believes in it, and that kind of fits the vibe we've got going here with CJ and Will, where they just they're almost true believers.
Yeah.
Then maybe they'll entertain it a little bit more, and maybe they're willing to meet in a little bit more if somebody genuinely wants to be here.
I'll put it this way: I think there's zero chance that Nick Caserio is of mind to pay any running back $12 million a year, any of them.
Yeah.
Any of these guys that are out there in free agency. And thus, if that's the market for Saquon at other places, and Saquon wants to come to the Texans and play, I think he's going to have to come here at a price that's less than $12 million. I just don't think Nick Caserio is a G. He comes from New England, and I know there's things where
the opposite.
Yeah,
they take running backs who are fifth round picks. They get a lot out of them, and then they pawn them off on the Texans.
Yeah,
or they pawn them off on the Titans, or they pawn them off on somebody else.
LeGarrette Blount was their leading rusher on a couple of their most recent Super Bowl teams. You know what I mean? So I just think, and I know there's certain things where we look at it and we go, well, that's what the Patriots did, and Nick doesn't do those things. Nick has gone the other way on some of the New England stuff. This I feel pretty strongly about is he's not going to be somebody priced for a running back on a second contract. Maybe I'm wrong. I have no information to that effect. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just trying to read the tea leaves with all this. And so I don't even think it's something where the Texans do it in an insulting way to Saquon, where it's like, well, if you want to come here, then this is what the price is. I think they're going to have a number in mind for all these guys, and I don't think the number that they would pay for Saquon Barkley is going to approach what Saquon Twitter thinks it's going to be.
Well, I think too, and I didn't hear Landry give this argument in full live, but I've heard the sounder that they're playing, where he's talking about he'd be incredulous that people wouldn't want to try to fill the running back position. I guess that's where. And again, I don't know what Landry's full and total argument was or anything. It doesn't necessarily, like, addressing the running back doesn't also mean that it has to be Saquon Barkley and it has to be for a lot of money.
Right.
Like, there's ways to address the running back position, as many, many, many teams do, without it being a guy like Saquon Barkley specifically.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and let's face it, like, improving the Texans running back room, it's not a high bar to clear based on last year. You had like 9 good games out of Devin Singletary, and that's pretty much all you got out of the running back room last year. Like that, I'm including the backups in this. Like, you didn't get 8 to 10 good carries from a backup in some of the games where Devin was running the ball really well.
Yeah. What about if Nick Chubb gets released? Would you be more into Nick Chubb or Saquon Barkley?
His injury would scare me a little bit. Injury. He had to have 2 surgeries on that knee. That would scare me. Again,
be a good discount there.
Yeah, as you pointed out, Seth, like a lot of this, and that's what a lot of like free agency talk is fun on the radio. It really is, but it's when you're not talking about what the dollars are with all this stuff. Some of it lacks substance. And so, if you ask me, like, would I like Nick Chubb if the Browns were to release him? Sure, coming off of that knee injury, 1 year, $7 million for Nick Chubb. Let's roll. You know,
it's just fun. I love the thing is. Like, signing Nick Chubb or Saquon Barkley, it's like, yeah, these are guys whose teams don't want them, and it's not the same as like when you can't afford to pay a Mario Williams or something like that. It's just like, oh man, running backs are way too expensive. We can't be spending on this running back. I don't care who the hell he is right now.
Right.
We can't have this guy.
Yep.
Nick Chubb's contract is too unwieldy because he got injured.
Yeah, because he got injured. Like, the injury plays heavy into the Nick Chubb stuff for sure.
But that's what happens to running backs. They get injured.
They do.